and they made me a cook, and I couldn't. I wasn't very good at that. And then I signed on, and they said, "Well, you can join a band if you can play something." I could play the tuba a little bit, just by blowing down my mother's vacuum cleaner tube, and like seeing some Aborigines do it. I can do circular breathing. They thought that was wonderful. And I don't think many musicians plan becoming musicians.
No, I never thought I could read well enough to be a session guy. I was quite surprised when they started booking me.
But you were a violinist, weren't you?
When I was a kid, I used to play the fiddle, school orchestra and that, but then gave it up because I couldn't wait to get hold of a guitar when I was 12. I thought it would be unsexy, you see, the violin.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, the session...
a pubescent young kid, you know, when rock and roll starting and all that, you know, Elvis and all that image thing, you know, you don't want to be playing a violin.
No, I mean, the biggest employer of
But
musicians...
I suppose I owe that to the fact that I knew what the dots were. At least I could put that together a little bit. Although guitar players are notoriously bad readers, and I'm no exception.
Yes. But the biggest employer of musicians is the military. It still is. They employ lots and lots of bandsmen. And those bandsmen, especially around London with all the guards and the Royal Air Force, this, that and the other, made great pit musicians. And between them, 100 of them could always put together a 20-piece pit orchestra that could sight read anything. And the rhythm section had the additional freedom of listening to all those early, I mean, Louis Armstrong. I mean, to this day, when the rhythm section's on that, they were inventing something, and that time will never happen again. All you can expect colleges to do and schools is to teach young people the principles of music, or if they want to stay at home and twiddle about and be in a band, that's great. That's what you two have done, and I mean, look where it got them. Oh, flipping heck.
They're talking about session guys.
I
remember Louis Armstrong saying in one of his biographies that they didn't want to do records. King Oliver, he was his trumpet player in his first band, absolutely refused to be recorded because they thought people would steal it, which of course they did. And they only got a fee, they didn't get royalties. But I think Louis Armstrong was a little more smart in as much as he realised he'd become world famous, which he did.
Yeah, he might have been not smart enough because somebody else who was very smart twigged that there was an awful lot of money to be made out of Louis Armstrong, as people did with Duke Ellington. So all the way down the line, the artist was being conned and ripped off, and maybe it's a little bit like that still. But then the argument against that is, look at the hundreds of millions that a few handfuls of people get. They don't earn it, not in my thing. It's just the market is all wrong.
Well, yeah. Simon Napier Bell did a brilliant article not that long ago, you know, about record companies, specifically not so much bands as session players, but you know, as in being a member of a band and how they were.
Yeah, but a session player is actually a paid executant. You're exchanging your musical know-how for cash. And if you roll up in a recording studio and someone just goes, the song is la 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 la, and you go dun, 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 oh, and the bass player goes dun, 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 and the drummer goes dun, 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 the song. No, you're not entitled to anything other than your wages for that particular recording, because the seed is where all the genetic requirements of that
any
piece
one of us
lie.
can do that. We can all hire a bunch of musicians and do that. They say, oh, the song goes like ba 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 ba. You know, what are you going to do? Any one of us can do that. It doesn't cost that much to pay a session fee in a studio. We can all do that. We can all have that big hit record if we wanted to do it. Yeah, it's actually quite difficult.
It's quite difficult,
really
but when you listen, a lot of the songs that make it are not difficult. They're eminently catchable.
It's the simplicity,
like
genius
motorbiking.
factor.
That's a motorbiking. I mean, crikey, how simple can you get? Granddad's going, or the streets of Philadelphia. I'm going on and on. The melody is da 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 da. That goes AA, and then the middle bit goes da 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 da. Sorry, da 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 da. That's not difficult,
No.
but it's
Catching
art.
the right one, yes, people will pick up on.
Yeah, I mean, I think often if people have success, then they're cutting off the rest of their career. I mean, there are people, maybe Leo Sayer, maybe Mike Batt, who are geniuses. They have such a fantastic little avenue to go down that they might lose their cred on a broader front, like Gilbert and Sullivan. If Sullivan had tried to write something much more
but he wanted to,
fulfilling, no one would have taken any notice of him.
I think that's why we've made our first album like it is. The first album's not trying to be commercial. It was just a piece of. without
Okay,
wishing to
so
sound
you
too
got the
very
album.
self-charm,
How on earth are you going to sell that album? There's no album marketplace anymore. So we're right
No.
back to what I think it should be, that
Ultimately,
you've got
we
to go
just
out
made it
and you've
for
got to
our own
work.
Yeah, that's what we're
enjoyment.
gonna
Yeah, we've got to go out and promote it ourselves.
And if you
now,
go out
just
and
do it
try and get
yourself.
work on your own, you'll get gigs for 200 quid to share out between 4 of you. And it's a tiresome process,
Yeah.
but a fulfilling